Let's talk to Eliot Shorr-Parks as we do every Tuesday at this time. Eliot, good morning, buddy.
What up? How you guys doing this morning?
Quite a bit, my man.
Eliot.
So, new offensive line coach. Tell us about this dude. I got to scramble to find his name.
Chris Cooper.
Chris Cooper.
Like the actor. Just spelled different.
Tell us what we need to know about this recycled guy.
Well, he doesn't have Jeff Stoutland's resume, I can tell you that much. I mean, so here's what I would say about Chris Cooper. I think that with these coaches, you have to view them a bit like draft picks, where we can look at the resume, we can look at what they've done, but you don't know in that system with those players if it'll be different, here than it was there. But there's no getting around the fact that his resume is just not that great. You look at the Minnesota offensive lines where he's been in control of them the past 4 years, and they have been one of the worst offensive lines in the league in terms of pressure allowed, sacks allowed. Their running game has never really been spectacular. They were decent last year, but for the first 3 years, they weren't that great. So, in that way, there's not really a ton to be excited about. I do think the one thing that stands out with him, as it does with the other coaches that they've hired, is you can see them moving to a more under center approach with the guys that they're bringing in terms of the offenses they've coached where they've had the quarterback. Cooper is used to having the running back run from under center, as Grizzard is, as Mannion is. So you can see kind of some common themes with them. But I think of all the coaches they've hired, Cooper probably has the resume where you look at it and go, he's done it for a few years and it's just not been good at it.
Was he deserving of not being renewed, Eliot, in your opinion, or was it more the athletes he had to work with were just not up to snuff and he took the fall for a bad group of offensive linemen? After 4 years, I might add.
Yeah, so no question they've not had great players in Minnesota. Now, the flip side of that is you could blame him for that a little bit, right? Like they've not developed guys there at a high level. They've not used a ton of high draft picks on offensive linemen. I think they've only drafted 2 in the top 3 rounds over the last 4 years, so it's not a position they've invested in. That being said, they've only had 1 Pro Bowler under Cooper in 4 years. Injuries are a major part of it. They used one of the highest offensive line combinations last year of any team in the league. So there's been injuries. The players haven't been great, but the Eagles dealt with a lot of that last year, and the coaches got blamed for that. So I think it's a little bit of both. There is truth to what you were saying, but Kevin O'Connell decided to straight up not bring him back. So I think that speaks to something.
And the connection to Cooper was how? How was he connected initially to this coaching staff?
So he actually has the most experience with Grizzard. They both worked, who's the new pass game coordinator. They both worked together in Miami early in their career for 2 years. So he has the most extended connection to him. Vic Fangio.
So he coached with Grizzard, or he coached while Grizzard was playing?
He coached with Grizzard.
Got it.
He coached with Grizzard. They were both assistant coaches. Or Grizzard might have been the receiver coach, but they were both on the Miami Dolphins offensive staff together. So he has that connection to Grizzard. Vic Fangio hired him to be an assistant offensive line coach in Denver. Now, obviously, we know Vic's a defensive guy, but still, he's the head coach. So he hired him there in Denver. And then he was briefly with Sean Mannion in Minnesota. I've seen a lot of people make the connection like this is a Mannion hire. Mannion was with him for half a season as a practice squad quarterback. Like, let's not act like they got some extensive history, where they're like grinding tape together late at night. So they know each other. But I think the most extensive history is definitely with Grizzard in Miami.
All right, Eliot with us here as he is every Tuesday. Eliot brought to us by Colonial Hyundai. Shop online 24/7 at colonialhyundai.com. Colonial Hyundai, the fast, easier, better way to buy a Hyundai. So, Eliot, one of our big points of discussion today has been on Jalen Hurts and whether the Eagles should give him an extension. And obviously, if they do, it's a big number. I mean, he's been working off for 2 years and $250, and so anything moving forward would be more than $50 a year. I would not do it. None of us here would do it. Would you give Jalen Hurts an extension this offseason?
I would, yeah. I think that I would double down on Jalen before I would trade him, and I really think that's what it is, right? I think if Jalen and his camp go to the Eagles and say they want a new contract and the Eagles say no, I think Jalen should ask for a trade. If I'm Jalen, I am not sitting around another year when Nick's got paid, other people have gotten paid, I've won a Super Bowl for you, and you're still not going to pay me. There are plenty of teams out there that would pay Jalen Hurts, right? So if I'm Jalen and they say no, then I say, all right, trade me. So if it comes to that and I'm the Eagles, I'm not willing to lose Jalen Hurts. So,
is it going to come to that?
I
mean, is it, in your estimation, do you really think this could go down this offseason? Jalen, hey, pay me or else?
So I think they will redo Jalen's contract this offseason. So I do think he will get some version of an extension, whether that is an extra, money guaranteed down the line, whether that's an increase in maybe some of his base pay or an option bonus, something like that. I think it benefits both sides. It benefits Jalen because it's been 3 years since he's gotten a contract.
Sure.
And it benefits the Eagles because while I don't have Jalen's contract in front of me, I would imagine there is a way to open up cap space for them working on Jalen's deal. So if it's beneficial for both sides, I think it could happen. But again, if they say no and they draft a quarterback or something, if I'm Jalen, I have to put my career first and think, why would I stick around if you're not going to double down on me? So, we can all sit here every week and say Jalen's not good at this, Jalen's not good at that. They got it pretty good at quarterback overall with him, and I'd be afraid of trying to move on from him.
So what about the Joe Banner approach? The way he used to do it back in the day was he would actually extend guys during the season, and it's felt like the last few years Howie has gotten away from that. How reasonable it to expect is the possibility that Howie and the front office would say, listen, Jalen, we want to extend you, but we need to see how things work with the new regime offensively. Let's see let's see the way it looks this season. Prove to us you deserve to be our guy, and we're going to bet on you for the next several offensive coordinators, essentially. Whatever happened to that approach, is it possible that they could use that and Jalen could be extended during the season?
So they've gotten away from in-season extensions. I think they view it as a locker room thing. They don't like to extend guys in season when other guys are upcoming free agents. They think that, it's bad for kind of the locker room morale. So I don't think that this will be an in-season extension for Jalen. And frankly, if I was Jalen and my team went to them and said, we want a new deal, and they said, well, let's see how you do from under center, and if we want to double down on you, I'd be somewhat offended. We can sit here and say there's rationale there, but we have to look at this from Jalen's side as well. He's won them a Super Bowl. They win 75% of the games with him as quarterback. He's taken them to 2. Jalen has his flaws, and no question about it. We talked about him every week this season, and I think he did not have a good year. But Jalen has every right to feel like he deserves a new contract. So I don't think that if they say to him, let's wait till week 7, I don't think that'll happen, number one. But number two, I think he would have every right to be offended.
Elliot, he can be offended all he wants. There's no way I'm giving him a new deal till I see him play better.
Well, when the season ended, he was about the 10th or 11th highest paid average salary quarterback.
3 words.
He wants to be up
Elliot,
in the top 5, I'm sure.
What are my 3 words, Elliot?
I have no idea what your 3 words are.
Deal with it.
Well, see, but that's easy for you to say, right? Until Jalen is upset and your franchise quarterback at the end of the year. Okay,
and then the team crumbles because you didn't do something that you should have done. You should have gotten your ducks in order.
Look, if he's going to,
and so now the team is crumbling around you.
Elliot, I don't think he would pull the move you're saying he could. But if he did,
I think he should.
Well, I don't think he would. But if he did, then that would tell me all the more that he's not my guy long term. If he can't recognize that he's got to play better to earn a new 5 years, $250. Then the heck with him, because he was lousy this year.
But since the last time he got that 5 years, $250, he has won them a Super Bowl.
I understand,
right?
but you know what I would say: the defense, Saquon, and the offensive line won them the Super Bowl. He was in the backseat of the car.
Right. So if you feel that way, right, then if I'm Jalen, if you don't think I'm a big part of the winning and you don't trust me to do this new stuff you're going to do on offense, then trade me.
No, right? I'm paying you $50 million. Go out there and have a damn good year, and we'll talk in 12 months.
Yeah, I just don't think that's how Jalen and his team would approach it, and I don't think it's how they should approach it, right? This is his chance to cash in.
Well, of course it's his chance. It's definitely his chance. And Elliot, you are right that it is notable that he has not yet gotten that kind of deal.
Correct.
I mean, think of it this way. Saquon, who was the main guy in 24, got a bump even though he was in his contract. Nick Foles, after 2017, got a bump even though he was going to be the backup quarterback in 2018. Jalen got Nick Sirianni. Jalen got no bump. And that tells me that the Eagles brass was more along the lines of my thinking than some others' thinking on where the credit really belonged.
So I agree with you. And I mean, we all talk about the team and are around the team enough to know, like, that if I'm Jalen, like, I'm getting a little tired of the finger always getting pointed at me, right? Like, I'm the reason the offense is the way it looks. I won't run the ball, right? So ultimately, it's time for the Eagles to put their money where their mouth is. Like, if you want him to be the quarterback, then pay him. If you don't want him to be the quarterback because of the things you're saying, right? Like, they win because of the offensive line. They win because of the defense. If all those things are true, if I'm Jalen, then trade me. But it's time for Jalen to get paid. He has earned a new contract since his last one. There's no question about that.
Eliot, final thing here. On this, the last day of the Phillies offseason, they go to spring training tomorrow. I'm going to ask you this Twitter poll question of the day. It's brought to us by Armin Chevrolet. Arriving shortly, the all-new 2027 Chevy Bolt EV, starting under $30,000. Reserve yours today. Together, let's drive to ArminChevy.com. Eliot, what's your answer to this question? What grade do you give the Phillies offseason? We've got 4 choices here. No pluses and minuses because we only got 4 choices. Which grade do you give them? A B, a C, a D, or an F?
I think they get an F, and I think they get it on 2 fronts. One, their main objective this offseason was to make people believe again, and I don't think they've accomplished that. I think fans are going into this season more skeptical than ever, so I think that was a failure. But then also, I think it was an offseason where they had to pick one of 2 paths, right? They either had to say, we're going to try to win with this core one last time, or it's time to move on from this core. And instead, they did the worst thing you could possibly do, which is they walked down the middle, right? They brought Schwarber and Realmuto back, but they're also going to bring some of the young guys up. And I think they would have been better served picking a path. So it doesn't feel like they have a plan. It doesn't feel like they've got the fans back. So I'm not really sure what the argument would be for them having a good offseason. So for me, that's an F.